Well, welcome, Mafians. Thank you, AJ, for another lovely introduction. I am your host, Too Clever Mafia, and you are listening to the Too Clever Mafia podcast and AJ in the sound booth. Thank you so much. Hello to my Mafians, all my new listeners out there, and we have a wonderful show for you today. Hopefully, if we just disappear after today's show, you're going to know why, because we're taking on the big ones, folks. We're going after the big guy, the big guns. We're going to be chatting a little bit about the Facebook, some of the new terms of service things that are popping up on everybody's Facebook app these days, and we're going to talk about whether or not Facebook is listening to us, and we're going to dive into maybe how much Facebook actually is worth and the people that own it. You might be surprised. You definitely might be. I know I am. I'm surprised. I can't wait. You could see the expression on my face, right, AJ? How surprised I am. Wanted to get this out there. We got a lot of things from our listeners and a lot of questions. And I didn't even realize it, but there's this new pop-up coming up starting October 2020 that Facebook has got this new terms of service. And we kind of dove into it a little bit. And all the top scholars over here at the Too Clever Mafia show to be able to get you some answers, because no one wants to read it. They just want to listen to what Too Clever has to say, and I have no problem with that. Right, AJ? We are going to break it down for you nice and easy, the Too Clever Mafia way.
Welcome home,
and I would like to say thank you to all of our listeners over in the land of Ire, over in Ireland, where, AJ, I think we're up to almost 15% of our overall listeners are coming from Ireland, and I don't know what's going on over there, but keep it up. Tell your friends. Thank you for that. And of course, we have our loyal following here in the US of A. There's probably about 20 other countries too, but I don't have the time to mention them all. But we can definitely answer your tweets if you want to tweet us something. We're at Tooclevermafia on all the social medias: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely drop us a line. You can email us if you'd like, tooclevermafia@gmail.com. We always like your comments on YouTube as well. And you can check us out. We're playing another game of PUBG over there, AJ. Yeah, I'm going to be posting some more videos, but check us out, www.tooclevermafia.com also. And what do you say, AJ, we get right into this one? Are you a little scared, AJ? We're going to be talking about the big old FB, big old Facebook today. I mean, no, I don't know. I actually like the platform. We enjoy it. Hint, hint. If anyone's listening, we do enjoy the Facebook platform, and we have a lot of loyal friends, I guess, on Facebook. Is that what you call them now? And we really do enjoy the platform, but people are concerned. People are concerned to what's going to happen. People are concerned. I mean, there's an election coming up, a big presidential election in the United States, and people are concerned, are the social media platforms going to be used for things that really, I don't know, people didn't think about 50 years ago. And now, proper measures have to be put in place to make sure people aren't spreading. I mean, you could say something on the Facebook and it ends up being news, and it's not even true. So really, there's a huge responsibility on the company, and, folks have to make sure the things that they're reposting and the things that they're saying have facts to them, and they're verifiable facts. And, lots of times when folks, you hear something that supports your position that you already have, you just run with it. It, sounds good, supports your position, boom. And it might not be factual. That's all I'm saying. Make sure what you're listening to and what you're presenting as facts actually are, because it's one of the easier things to do is if something supports your position is to call it a fact. Hey, sounds like it helps me. Definitely backs up my story and what I believe. So we're going to call it a fact. And it doesn't take much time before that fact is, kind of becomes the hard truth, even though it may not have been factual at all. Right? So we're going to dive right into this, AJ. I think we need to, we're going to chat about this terms of service and some other things going on the social media world. But we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back. And we've got the scoop for you today. Right, AJ? Yeah. We've done all the research and all the legwork, so you don't have to waste your time digging through hours of fine print, right? Trying to figure out what this whole new Facebook updating their terms of service in October 2020 is all about, right? It's all about. So, a lot of us use Facebook, me included. Don't forget to follow the Too Clever Mafia Facebook page. And there's a separate page, I think, that has the Too Clever Mafia podcast page. And I'm Too Clever Mafia on Facebook also. But anyway, effective October 1st, 2020, they're kind of, I don't know how to explain it in why that they've decided to go about it, introducing it the way they introduced it. But if you haven't been already interrupted by that pop-up message that comes up and saying that effective October 1st, 2020, Section 3.2 of our Terms of Service will be updated to include, and we also can remove or restrict access to your content, services, or information if we determine that doing so is reasonably necessary to avoid or mitigate adverse legal or regulatory impact to Facebook. Now, Facebook, not just Facebook, but everyone, all these big companies aren't really too quick to let you know. They'll throw out the new disclaimer and it'll be 800 pages long in font .20. You can't even read it. 2.20. But they kind of threw this in everybody's face, and people are like, what's going on? And I've heard people say they're going to cancel their Facebook account that had something to do with privacy, but the message was definitely strange. It definitely wasn't the norm you would expect to get from a big company like Facebook, or people have gotten before, because, that stuff doesn't normally pop up on your timeline. And, the specific changes that these companies make to their terms of service, usually just legal mumbo jumbo, right? But unless you speak that legal mumbo jumbo, the messages always come across as cryptic, right? And it's very hard for us to take the time necessary, and we just want to use the end product, and we don't read or understand what is going on with our privacy, with our rights, and what we're doing based upon us just using the whatever particular service it is. So first thing I saw, and I said, well, what kind of regulatory impact is going on here? Like what is Facebook really trying to tell us? So along with all the speculation, the efforts that they're taking to remove objectionable things off of their pages, or which kind of goes against the idea of the freedom of the information that is being exchanged on Facebook amongst friends and family, and socially, and there's a lot of commercial businesses on Facebook. But when it comes to issues as transparency, and privacy, we kind of wanted, when I say we, the Too Clever Mafia podcast, we kind of wanted to share with you what we know, what we're able to understand, and our huge legal teams have been able to figure out. So you don't have to, and you don't have to pay for the legal fee either. You just have to like and subscribe to the Too Clever Mafia podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Watch our videos. Like our podcast. Listen on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, the whole likes of them. That's all you got to do, really. That's all you got to do. So, as it turns out, Facebook is currently fighting a really, I'll say high stakes, AJ, right? A high stakes legal battle in Australia, where lawmakers there have proposed, I guess, which would be similar to a bill in the United States. They've proposed a bill that would allow new publishers to demand payment for uh, from Facebook for the content shared on their platform in some situations. Now, Facebook obviously doesn't want this. In a blog post recently, they even threatened to prevent Australian users from sharing news on Facebook if the proposal, the bill, basically became a law. Now, it's not just about that because this TOS change or terms of service change to Facebook's rules. It's more than just about Australia because if lawmakers are successful in Australia and other countries can kind of go at Facebook and other companies similar to Facebook, they could pretty much change the whole way that Facebook and these companies make money and shift kind of the economic dynamics of all these sites because then they can, where the sites where the information is shared freely. You're posting stuff and you want your likes and everything, and the sites are really just mining your data, seeing what you're doing, what you're clicking on, what you're watching, what you want to buy, what all that stuff, everything from what categories of news from news to entertainment that you're actually viewing and following through on or spending time on. It's all tracked, folks. Everything you do on there it's just everything you do is tracked, and it's being used in some ways against you. But uh, with Facebook also came out and said, the global update that they recently provided gives Facebook more flexibility for them to change their services, including Australia, and to continue to operate and support their users in response to potential legal action or regulatory action, I guess you can say. So um, it's going to affect everybody globally. It's not just this Australia thing, but they're really kind of throwing it out there, letting everybody know, hey, we're going to change some things. Beware. So now the language of the update is um, very broad, right? Most people read that and said, I don't even understand what this means. Whatever. I just know I got to do something different in October, but I don't even know what I'm going to do. And I've heard some stories, and people have asked me, "Hey, Clever, what's going on with this?" And I've been asked, is Facebook going to take down posts? Is what all of this? So, but ultimately, if the government or any government tries to make um, Facebook responsible for any type of its content, including compensating creators like myself, or basically they're going to say, well, we can just delete your content instead of paying for it. And I don't think that's a good thing at all. I mean, they're kind of saying, hey, we want your content, give it to us for free, but if you're going to make us pay for it, then guess what? We're just not going to get it. We'll get somebody else's that'll give us theirs for free. And does that seem right? I don't think so, AJ. Right? I mean, it just kind of really shows you how big and strong Facebook is, and then they just say, hey, listen, you're going to give us content for free, or you're going to use our site, or not, and then we're going to get rid of you if you try to make us pay for it. Imagine if YouTube did that. I mean, YouTube pays users, and it's gone down over the years, and the requirements to get money to get paid for advertising on YouTube has obviously gotten, but they're still out there. People still make a living. Don't let them fool you off of YouTube. And yeah, no, not us. Our YouTube channel is not really hopping at the moment, but yeah, go out and watch some videos. Maybe I don't. Yeah, actually, we don't make anything from our YouTube channel. Well, our YouTube channel is not even. Yeah, no, we post. To tell you the truth, folks, the reason why we post all our video, we've been posting our podcast on YouTube. I do some gaming over there as well with the PUBG, but it's more of an archival thing because some of the big podcast presenters only allow 300 podcast episodes, and then they're gone. The one, so if you want to keep an archive, you got to have your podcast somewhere else. So that's one of the reasons why we use YouTube. But it's another platform you can definitely listen to the Tooclevermafia show if you really wanted to, right? Yeah. See, there you go, AJ. Um, so that's kind of the gist of those pop-ups you're getting on Facebook. Okay, so to keep it short, summarize it. They want users to be compensated for their stuff, and Australia does, and the legal scholars down there, but and Facebook doesn't want to pay. Facebook's made a pretty decent amount of money by offering up free services, and I know they do advertising. You pay for advertising and whatnot, but you're definitely paying with your data and your privacy. So anything you do on Facebook, I don't, and I'm not just saying this. I'm not just making it up. I don't have a thing against Facebook. I don't mind the platform. So here's a little clip when it was, I guess, a couple of years ago. The Senate hearing, or whoever it was trying to pin Facebook down and figure out, how are you making your money? Are you selling people's data? And this was Zuckerberg's response to that.
There's a very common misperception about Facebook that we sell data to advertisers, and we do not sell data to advertisers.
Well,
we don't sell data.
You clearly rent it.
What we allow is for advertisers to tell us who they want to reach, and then we do the placement.
So in other words, they are kind of the middleman. The advertisers pay Zuckerberg to, so basically they're the marketing company. You want customers, you go out, you hire a marketing company, and you say, listen, this is the type of customer I want. Then the marketing company generally goes out and does what it has to do to get you those customers. But in this case, Zuckerberg has a whole load of those customers already in his back pocket, meaning all of us Facebook users. And he can just say, okay, I think an example he used were skis. You're a company that sells like skis for, going on the slopes and skiing and all that stuff. Well, he used that example, and he said, if, you're a company that wants to get skis, you sell skis. Well, I've got millions and millions of people that have something to do with skis, and I'm going to direct your marketing to those people with skis. So I don't know. I don't know if I think that's good or bad. I guess. I mean, I guess it is a business model, but I feel the majority of people on Facebook, I mean, now probably assume that their privacy is there is no privacy on Facebook. But the fact that, if I'm being marketed to for somebody by skis because Facebook is selling them my information, then I kind of feel when I give them that information, it should be very clear that, hey, if you put this in here, we're going to match you up with somebody that, wants to advertise to you. I mean, I don't know, AJ. I think I don't know how they would do it, but I think that would be a little bit better way to go about this than make it seem like it's all secretive. So then there was a point where Mark Zuckerberg said, because Facebook, there's a lot of accusations made, and whether you're pro or for the current president, saying that Facebook kind of helped people get elected or not get elected, and the opposing party is very upset if this is true. So here was Mark talking a little bit about that.
This is an ongoing arms race. As long as there are people sitting in Russia whose job it is to try to interfere with elections around the world, this is going to be an ongoing conflict. What I can commit is that we're going to invest significantly, because this is a top priority, to make sure that people aren't spreading misinformation or trying to interfere in elections on Facebook.
So we have Mark's guarantee, if you will, that they're going to do their best to ensure no one interferes with elections using Facebook. So I feel better about that. I don't know about you, but no, I don't know. And this goes on and on for a while, and I don't want to bore everyone with it, but there's also a lot of parts where Mark is saying the senators go back and forth and are questioning him about, what hotel did you stay in last night? And he didn't want to give up that information. And then they asked him, well, what text message did you send last? And he didn't want to give up that information. So he obviously is someone who's very concerned about his own privacy, but he has no problem selling all of our data to make himself some money. So I don't know. That's my take on it. I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. It's really crazy when you think about a social media platform being able to interfere with our elections. And some people have been saying some of this terms of service stuff is to kind of allow Facebook to take down these ads when they're published and they for the election. So they're not saying, they're not looked at as representing any one political party. But who knows? Who knows? They can definitely manipulate things the way they want them. Whatever they want the outcome to be, they can definitely make that happen. So we're gonna be right back. The next segment is pretty neat because we're gonna really dive into the fact if is Facebook listening? AJ, do you think is listening? I don't know. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna tell you our experiences right after this short break. Check us out on www.tooclevermafia.com. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. So we're really going after the social media giants today, huh, AJ? Welcome back. I am your host, Tooclevermafia. You are listening to the Tooclevermafia podcast, as always, and we are going after the big guys today. So the big thing we want to find out now, and this has happened to me a lot just lately, AJ, but have you ever gone on Facebook and, after having a conversation with someone and all of a sudden there's an advertisement there about what you were just talking about? Yeah, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? I mean, there's no way anyone can say Facebook is not listening, or at least their advertising partners, which when I click on them, usually it's Google. So either it's Google listening through Facebook or Facebook listening through Google, and they're working together, or maybe they're not even working together, but that's how it's posted on the actual app that you use. But I gotta tell you, here's what happened. Mrs. Mafia and I were on the way home chatting about that we needed to pick up some food for the dog. Right, we were talking about dog food, and didn't search anything. We weren't looking for it on the internet, on the phone, and nothing. Get home, open up Facebook, both Mrs. Mafia and I, on both of our phones. We opened up Facebook, and boom, advertisement for dog food. It's just not possible that was that much of a coincidence. I don't see how it could be. I don't. Yeah, has that happened to you, AJ? Yeah, it has. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Okay, so AJ is saying that he was actually doing the same thing. He needed to get a new air filter for his automobile, and then he went home, right? You're saying, and then there it was on Facebook. I'm telling you, they're listening. In the last segment, we talked about how Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook is making their money selling your data to advertisers. Well, if that's not happening, they say they're not listening, then how are they listening? How are they, they're clearly, there's somebody was out there looking to sell dog food. They heard old Tooclevermafia talking about the dog food, and boom, there it was, right in front of them, ready to click on, ready to purchase. Not even a good brand or a good price either. So, I mean, obviously it was somebody trying to really, what do they call it? They were really trying to sell me a piece of the Brooklyn Bridge, Is that what they say? No, AJ, it's not what they say. No, but it's crazy. I don't. They've got to be listening, and with that much power, You think about Facebook and you think of how big they are and how many people are actually using their services. They could. It's crazy, really. You can't even. If you start to think about it, it just becomes too much for one person to really grasp on how big they are and how much advertising and how much data they have on every one of us. I remember back in the day, and this was a long time ago. I don't know, maybe that long for some of you, but at least 10 years ago. And I remember I probably have had Facebook for about that long. And I remember signing up, and I remember they ask you like who your favorite movie was, your favorite song was, sports teams, all of that. And then you sign up and you put all this information in, and you didn't think anything of it. Then a few weeks ago, I'm going through some of the old stuff in there to see what's really what really makes this app tick. And I go through, and all that stuff is still in there, along with if you have ever clicked on an advertisement within Facebook, whether purposely or not, it automatically links you to that type of. So if you click on clothing, or better yet, let's say I click on a belt from from a high end clothing manufacturer, I've now associated myself with shopping for clothing, shopping for high end clothing, shopping at that manufacturer, and it just links you across the board with everything. So all of that data compounded over, for me, 10 years or so. Think of all the stuff they have just on me, and how much is that worth? How much is a what do they call it? A targeted ad, like a targeted advertisement. If I'm going to target 500 people, which I mean, if I said, hey, I want 500 people to sign up for the Too Clever Mafia podcast, I want them to head over to www.tooclevermafia.com. I'm going to pay you to get me 500 people. How much would that cost? It's costing Facebook nothing to obtain that information, other than but how much can I then turn around and sell those 500 users that I, over 10 years have said, there's a good probability with all this data that they're going to listen to Too Clever Mafia. I mean, who wouldn't? But, they could sell it to me for, and how much would I pay for it? Would I pay $100 for it? Would it be worth it? Who knows? Have we? Yeah, well, okay. So the Too Clever Mafia show, early on, quite a long time ago, I think I threw $10 at the advertising platform for Facebook, and I said, hey, yeah, $10, get our word out. I don't know if we got any response back. I don't know. I don't remember if we got any new users or any real advertisements or anything like that. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but that's crazy. The amount of information that Facebook has on people across this world is I mean, I guess it's kudos to Zuckerberg and the company, because they're making a lot of money using other people's information, and we're giving it to them willingly. Yeah, everything's on there. That's crazy, but just something to think about. We're gonna take a short break. We're gonna be right back. I think I'm gonna go cry when I realize that. Hey, AJ, by any chance, do you know how much Facebook is worth, as far as I guess as far as like your stocks or company wise? Like overall, how much is it? How much is the company worth? Is it worth billions? Is it worth? Wow. Okay, so AJ is telling me that the company is officially worth, has a net worth, I guess, I don't even know how you break that down, of $527 billion. That is nuts. And it was founded back in 2004. And how many? 900 million members. Wow. Almost a billion people. A billion people. Oh my. Oh my. And Zuckerberg How much is he? Okay, Zuckerberg owns about 29.3% of the company, which equals about $54 billion. My goodness. My goodness. I could live off of like, you know, 0.00005% of that, and I'd be fine. I'd be fine. Wow. That's a lot of coin, AJ, right? That's a lot of coin. Oh, what? Okay. Okay, so AJ is telling me that there's quite a few other people that also have a huge stake in Facebook. There's this gentleman called Jim Breyer, and his it's called a Cell Partner Group, owns 11.4%. That's only, I'm sorry, yeah, that equals $11.4 billion. Oh boy, they're almost 100 billion. That makes sense. Oh boy, that is amazing. Then there's what's this? Dustin, who's Dustin Moskowitz? He owns $7.6 billion, or only 7.6% of Facebook, and you're a billionaire. Wow. Yeah, if you had that much money, if you had $7.6 billion, you can buy 152 Gulfstream private jets. They're about 50 mil apiece, and you can buy Antilla, the world's most expensive home, and about 7 times. So you can buy 7 of them if it was around. There's also a guy named Yuri Milner. He's a company called Digital Sky Technology, was also an investor, and he's got 5. These are all 5 billion. There's another guy who owns 5 billion. That guy can't even put on a clean shirt. This other guy 4 billion. Peter, all these people. Look. Oh, what? Oh boy. Now this is a nice little tidbit of information. This says here, number 8. Microsoft. Microsoft owns 1.3%, or an equivalent of $1.3 billion worth of Facebook. They bought into it. They paid about $240 million for 1.6 shares back then. Now it's worth $1.3 billion. Wow. Oh boy. Anybody else on here? Oh, here you go. Hong Kong billionaire. $800 million, owns 0.8% of Facebook. Wow, that is. I did not know Microsoft owns a good portion of Facebook. Who Sean Parker, those of you who are a little bit older might remember something called Napster. He owns about $4 billion, or 4% of Facebook. Back in the day when Napster was doing their peer-to-peer file sharing, where you could get a song from a buddy and it'd take you 15 days to download it. But apparently he invested the other guy, this other guy had this Peter Thiel, also 2.5 billion. These are all just billionaires because of Facebook. This guy had a lot to do with PayPal. Early success with PayPal way back, which he sold for $1.5 billion back in 2002. So he already had some money. Put about $500,000 into Facebook, gave him 10% back then, and now he's a billionaire. Oh boy. All right. I'm getting sick to my stomach reading this stuff. But we'll be right back after this, and oh boy, I'm going to have to get a second job now. I feel really poor compared to these folks. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, my Marfians. I am your host, Tooclevermafia. You are once again listening to the Tooclevermafia podcast, and wow, this is a tough one. I'm gonna be looking over my shoulder when I head out to the parking lot later. AJ, what do you think? think I need to be a little bit extra careful. Yeah, it's not every day you chat about one of the biggest social media companies in the entire world, and I don't know. I'm not going to say it wasn't a negative light at all. I think this was a very open conversation we had today, right? Wouldn't you say? Yeah. I don't think it was extremely negative, although if Facebook is always listening, then, they're going to hear this one. And I don't know how they're going to feel if they're or maybe I violate the new terms of service coming up in October and the Too Clever Mafia podcast is no more. Because Facebook could do that, No, I know. I don't think I'm that big that Facebook even cares about what we're doing here in our little studio. But you know what happened? Speaking in the studio, Muffins, AJ knows, but I'm going to talk to you about this. So I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden my microphone falls. It's like it's on a stand off to the side of my I don't know what you call this, studio seat or desk here, and it fell off to the side, and it scared the bejeez out of me. I tell you, I just got hit in the head with a microphone out of nowhere, and I would sue if it wasn't my own studio. That would be probably a lawsuit, AJ. Yeah, maybe I'll sue you. Maybe you kind of set this stuff up, so maybe it was faulty. No, I don't think it was faulty. You know what it is? I have a tripod stand for my microphone, and the microphone was twisted, so the front leg is supposed to be aiming toward the microphone. I know this is probably all very boring, but the front leg should be towards the microphone to offset the weight, and somehow it got shifted, so there was just kind of two legs out to the side, and I guess the weight of the microphone just on itself fell over and hit me in the noggin. Either that or AJ did set it up to take me out. He wants to take over this seat. Yeah, maybe one day, AJ. When I'm 105, maybe then. We'll see. So I hope everybody learned a couple of things or two. Be careful what you do on Facebook or any social media platform for that matter. Terms of services are changing. Don't believe everything you hear, except for the Too Clever Mafia podcast, but don't believe everything you read either on Facebook. Some of those stories on there are there to get your attention, and it ends up not even being real, or they're just trying to get that story out there to make it real, which is pretty crazy if you think about social media and what it can do. You can reach millions and millions of people, and it's so quickly, and by the time that news is corrected, or if it's not true, by the time that comes back around and gets, people start saying, "Oh, that wasn't true, or that was fake," or fact check. It's too late. Half the people won't see the fact checking. So, this is what it is. I want everybody to have a great weekend. Please join and follow us on all the social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, of course. Follow, like, subscribe, follow our podcast. We're available on all the major podcasts. We have Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Google, Apple, the whole, every one of them. Every one of them. We're out there on all the majors. Just like the other big guns on the podcast world, we are we're right up there with them. We're right up there with them. We're hanging with the best of them, as they say. So, www.tooclevermafia.com. And I am your host once again, Too Clever Mafia. That's all I have to say about that, my Mafians. Until next week, bye-bye. For now.